right now being a teenager is stressful because it's too hard to fit in. Like, is
Mhm.
it better for me to break it down to him and let him know, like, look, man, you're gonna have different topics, like, different
I
people.
think that takes his entire life of being groomed that way to um, I think it's a couple of things. To A, not care what other people think.
Hmm.
So like just not have that affect who you are. You don't change who you are to try and mold into something that's trendy. Um, like be yourself. So and that just I feel like takes an entire life of being told that along the way.
Hmm.
And at the same time, having such a good support system at home, having just a loving home, that's where I think, that mom dad relationship is super important. And having such a strong, loving base at home to where you are loved unconditionally, no matter what you do, uh, uh, that other people's opinions don't matter much. That makes sense?
Yes.
I think that because that's a real issue. I mean, we've heard that a lot as far as teenage anxiety, teenage depression, teenage suicide is skyrocketing simply because everyone's trying to compare themselves. Everyone's trying to be better, be who they are not, and try and fit in and try and be cool. And everyone's posing for like the perfect picture and adding filters to make it look right. Um, and then other people are seeing that and trying to compare themselves to it. Um, and I think just it's my natural skill. Like in high school, I never cared about fitting in. It was just I'm going to go my way. And if you guys come with me, it's great. If you don't, I just think you're idiot. So like I was so cocky, I guess, that I just always felt I was right. Like I didn't care what I wore. I went to San Jose High School in the football team and weightlifting team sports, which I was involved in. They give you maroon shorts and gray shirts, and it says your sport team and the school name and logo. That's all I wore for 4 years. I wore gray shirts and maroon shorts because they gave them to me free, and I just did not. They were usually not super clean. I'd wear them 2, 3 days in a row. I had 30 pairs of each, um, but I never cared about fitting in that sense. And it was just my innate personality. Like not, I don't remember specifically being like groomed or raised that way, but I probably was. It's just who cares? Like fitting into something trendy is just stupid. Like the trend is going to change. The people that are cool right now in middle school aren't going to be necessarily cool in high school, and those kids aren't going to be cool later on in life. Um, so the ability as a parent to kind of navigate that, depending on your child's personality, just say fitting in just isn't that important. Like be a good person, be a moral person, be who we raised you to be. Um, we're going to love you at home. So who really cares about what other people think? And then just find things that fit your culture and fit your morals and values and are also good people. And if they're not the cool kids, fine. Just don't hang out with cool kids, but do what's right and be who you are. And just uh, you're always going to hear and see that outside noise. But, just developing the ability to not let it fool you. And I'm not sure 100% how you do that. So I think
Yeah.
part of it's just I think part of it's just the first 14 years of their life, kind of every opportunity that presents itself to try and hone that skill. We're doing that with our oldest right now. He's 9, and he's very he's the entrepreneur. He's also a little on the OCD side, and probably cares more about being cool than I ever did.
Mm.
And something every chance I get, we work with him on it. Buying those cool jeans so you can fit in doesn't mean anything. It doesn't do anything. Like it doesn't add value to you as a person. It doesn't change who you are. And in the end, nobody really cares anyway. Like what one person, the same thing. I feel the same way about cars. I've never cared about vehicles. Like I've never cared what the guy sitting next to me at the red light thinks about my vehicle. So I drove older beat up trucks just because it gets me from A to B. It's loud, which I like. It uses a lot of fuel, which I like, and it's a 4x4, which I like, and it's big. And when it gets dented at the store, I don't care. And when my kids make messes in it, I don't care. So it was never aesthetically pretty. And the people around in the shopping centers and on the street probably didn't think much of that vehicle. But I so genuinely did not care what they thought. They thought they were stupid and they were wrong. I mean, they're going to try and judge me based on a vehicle. So that's the story I usually go to with him. when it comes down to clothes or buying something to be cool. Uh, that's my story, and I'm sticking with it.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with you. 100% agree with you on that. I'm the same way. Like you said, I didn't fit in. I'll be honest. I didn't really talk to a lot of people in high school. I had a small circle because I just didn't care. Like you said, you are who you are at the end of the day. If they like you, they like you. If they don't, they don't. But it
Yeah.
was just, it just like it blows my mind how a lot of kids growing up nowadays they don't have that mentality. Like growing up, a lot of people are more worried about what the other person's doing versus what they're doing with themselves.
Yeah.
And I see that a lot, and I try to understand, but I just can't. And I try to break it down to them, and I try to explain it to them like it's something that you can't really go up and beyond and try to look at what other people are doing versus you. It's like like I always tell them, like you drive looking forward, you don't
Yeah.
drive looking back.
And it's difficult when they're raised watching their parents try and fit in. When they're watching their parents buy cars that they can't afford to impress other people.
That
Because
is
they
true.
when their parents are buying the clothes to fit in and be cool, when their parents are buying decoration to fit in with what's trendy so that their neighbors think they're cool, so and there's a lot of that. There's a lot of keeping up with the Joneses, just trying to fit in as adults. So, and
That is
that's
true.
tough. That's gonna be a tough thing to teach. But I think the model is probably an important thing as well. All right, we'll start. Welcome to 100% Dad Interviews with Dads. Ceasar, I know nothing about you, so you gotta fill me in on the basics. Name, if you're married, how many kids you got, all that kind of jazz.
Yeah, 20 years old, 28 years old.
Okay.
Yeah, I've been with somebody for about already 12 years, so that's where my 4 year come from.
Does somebody have a name?
Her name is Jaritza.
Okay, so you guys high school sweethearts.
Yeah, we've been we had our ups and downs already.
Yeah.
A lot of good moments, a lot of bad moments, but we're still sticking through.
That's every relationship.
Yeah, I mean, eventually I had to figure it out the hard way. Obviously you trying to figure out there's something best out there, but it's not always greener on the other side. So
Yeah.
pretty much comes back.
So you got a 4-year-old. You're got a long-term girl. 12 years since you were 16. What do you do for a living?
I work for an oil and gas company. We're into the fracking business.
You're in Texas then.
Yeah, you're in Texas.
Okay.
So
what part of Texas?
I'm located in Houston, Texas.
Okay, I know where that is.
Yeah, that's where we located at. It's pretty much in this assembly line. Obviously, right now Texas is getting hard hit with oil and gas, but we're still managing to stay alive for the moment.
Oh yeah, gosh. Has that changed at all? I remember when oil was crashing. I mean, it was great at the pump because costs went down insane.
I mean, right now, obviously, there's a lot of contracts that's been canceled due to the whole pandemic stuff going on. Pretty much, Ceasar Alred, the governor, and everybody else trying to maintain it. I just have one kid. To a point where like they don't want to apparently close down. I wouldn't say many places, but right now it's been a lot of layoffs, a lot of pretty much.
How do you say? I need you to speak. I need you to speak up a little bit. I'm having trouble hearing you.
Right now. Sorry. For the most part, Ceasar Alred is slowly but surely picking up. I have one 4-year-old. Everything's promised in 2021. Obviously, you got I'm not. I wouldn't say married, election going on, so that plays a big factor with oil and gas too over here.
Same girl for a long time.
They had a bunch of layoffs. Yeah, same girl for a long time. We're going up to what, third quarter? I guess here in Texas, and they're pretty much planning for 2021.
Common law,
got it. 2020, it's already out the window.
What do you do in the oil and gas? I'm having trouble hearing you, so I might go grab some headphones on.
Technician. Okay. So we assemble the what they call frac pumps. So, yeah, so pretty much right now we're just doing anything that comes up. To be honest, I mean, there's really not a lot of sales going on. Of course, we work for for all these oil companies that are in the west side of Texas, like uh, Odessa, Midland, all that stuff right now. But
Yeah.
so they had a lot of layoffs as well. So we're just trying to figure out what's going to happen.
You ready for that if that happens to you?
I have no choice. I stay ready. That's just my motto. I always got to stay ready,
Yeah.
just because you never know, right? I've been looking at other jobs as well.
How long you been with them?
I've been with them 5 years. Started with them in 2015.
Okay, and you've already survived a few rounds of layoffs. It sounds like.
Oh yes, a
All right.
couple rounds, but
So they
try
so
to
they like you.
and I like to learn. So I have I have more than one skill trait. I move around. I know how to do more than one thing. So obviously, right now they have me bouncing from one department to a different department, just do whatever they need me at the moment.
How are you getting prepared in case or that day does happen?
Right now, at the moment, I'm actually just enrolled at this life insurance as a sales guy. So I'm getting my
Oh, nice.
fingerprints. Yeah,
You
so
already
I'm getting
passed
my.
the test.
No, I have to take the test, but I got to get my
Okay.
background check first, and then do my fingerprints and all that good stuff, and then after that, I have to take the test.
Okay.
Yeah, as like I said, I just want to get ahead and be proactive about it. You know, I don't want to get caught off guard.
That's smart.
Yeah, because I mean, you got a couple months, and then next thing you know, the year's over, and then you got Christmas, and then that would not be a good thing to go through again.
Do you guys is I wouldn't think that business is too seasonal, is it?
Well, in December it's a 2 week shut off. They do a whole facility shut off because there's no sales going on, so we get Christmas and New Year's paid off.
Okay.
But uh, seeing seeing how things are going right now, I don't know. They probably just tell us, either you have a choice, 2 weeks no pay, or you can use your sick time or your uh, vacation time. So we'll see how it goes.
Yeah, you stockpiling cash at home.
Yeah, so I have no choice. Start couple subscriptions. Netflix had to go, Amazon
Yeah.
had to go, and it's pretty much just cutting all expenses that I don't really need. And
Yeah. And hopefully it doesn't happen.
correct,
And then,
correct.
then you just have a nice pile of cash at the end of all this and everything goes back to normal. And that'd be a pretty sweet situation.
Yeah, it would. But like I said, you always got to prepare for hopefully the best, prepare for the worst, right? So you never know
Right.
what's gonna happen.
So life insurance, which I'm big on term life insurance. I feel like every dad needs to have that. It's
Yeah,
just one of those things. It's almost irresponsible not to have it in my eyes. Just because if you go and you're the provider, my gosh, you just left your family, the people you supposedly love, in a real tough spot. So, and it's so daggone cheap. Um,
correct.
so that's a good. I mean, that could be a really good career. I've seen people. I've seen a few people flame out of it, but I've seen a lot of people do really, really well. They can be a really good
Yeah,
business.
yeah. Like they were just pretty much showing me how you got to stay consistent. Keep pushing, pushing. Within 2 years,
Yeah,
you could make a good amount of cash. And it depends on the person. Each individual is different. I mean, me personally, I like to be ambitious, like to keep going. I mean, yeah, I have my setbacks, but I still got to keep going. I have a motive. Especially my little
sure.
one. Yeah, he sees you, so you got to
Any
keep going.
anytime you're starting from scratch in sales, it's challenging. I mean, that first year is not going to be great. It's just
Yeah,
that's the reality of it. No matter what they tell you, and they'll all tell you, especially the bigger companies, the Aflacs and things like that, where they're always hiring and recruiting. Um, they'll kind of dangle that big carrot and show you a few examples of some people that did it real fast. But the reality is that stuff just takes time. It
yeah,
takes time to build that pipeline, to get those sales, and to kind of perfect your pitches and the way to handle some rejections and things like that. It just takes time and talent. But it's a good career. I really think it is.
yeah.
That'd be a
We'll
good
see
one.
how
So,
it
so
goes.
you plan on are you wanting to do that like part time first, or you just jump
At the
full
moment,
time?
yes. I have a schedule that kind of helps me out. I only work Monday to Thursdays, so pretty
Oh,
much
cool.
I could do my afternoons and my weekends. So it's gonna be more of a part time thing.
Is it a 1099 position, or is it a company kind of hiring you on payroll?
Pretty much. I really don't know much information on that yet.
Okay.
I didn't get that far with her. She's gonna get me into all that details on Monday. She's gonna have a one on
Mhm.
one. Obviously, she had more than one person at the conference. She had a Zoom. So on Monday, she's gonna have a one on one with me, and I'm gonna ask her every single detail that I want to know about it.
Beautiful. Yeah.
Yeah.
There's nothing wrong with 1099. It's you're in a sense in business for yourself. You're just
Okay.
selling her her product,
For
what she has
product, yeah.
access to. Mhm.
Okay.
And so like you have to make sure you withhold your own taxes. So like
Hmm.
take at least 25% of everything every time you get a check from her, take 25%, set it aside because that's going to the government. And
Yeah.
so you don't want to get to the end of the year and have made $40,000 and then they ask you where their $10,000 is and you've already spent it. That would be a bad thing. So um, but you get some more some tax write downs for expenses and things like that, unless they've changed all that. Um, so it can be a good thing, but
Yeah. Well, according to her,
uh,
they updated a lot of stuff, and she's gonna fill me into that. Like I'll tell her,
mhm,
there's a lot of like you said, there's a lot of things that play factor. Taxes, and then a lot of commission
sure.
percentage. Who gets what cut, and there's a lot to it in the background that goes on. And I really want to know. Like I told her, I want to get myself to that just to be
So is it do you know if it's term life or whole life?
like turn life as in like
So term life policy. So that would be uh, you come to me, want me to buy life insurance. You say, hey, a 20-year policy for $1 million is going to cost you, you know, $40 a month, and that's it for the next 20 years. And if you die, you get $1 million. If you don't die, we get to keep the money.
oh
That's term
no
life.
that's not like that.
Okay, so it's whole life where you're paying in, then you can get some cash back at certain times,
Correct,
things like that. Yeah,
correct, yes.
I don't like those.
Well, why is that?
So from the consumer standpoint,
Yeah.
the good news is on the sales side, your commissions on them are massive,
Okay.
especially if you get into like the higher dollar clientele. Like I have some friends that are in the insurance business, and they'll sell a really rich old guy on like a $5-6 million whole life policy, and they'll make like a $30,000-$40,000 commission. It's or a commission. Like
Mhm.
it's a big chunk. Um, it's so expensive for the consumer. So I've had a lot of insurance guys pitch them to me before as ways of tax sheltering or saving or transferring wealth to the next generation, things like that. And they're so insanely expensive for the amount of coverage they provide. And then
Mm.
they kind of act as an investment vehicle, so they grow. You can't see my quotes. So they grow in value, and if you look at what that thing will grow in value to in 10, 20 years after you've paid into it, it's a terrible investment. So you're better off getting, in my opinion, getting the term life insurance
Mhm.
policy. Like I have $1 million policy. I pay $400 a year for. So I only pay $400. I got $1 million worth of coverage if I die. And then we do investing with our investment team, and that stuff's making.
Mhm.
I mean, it's all over the board, but 12%, 15%, 8%, 16%. It's depending on what it's plugged into.
Mm,
Um,
okay.
and this whole life policy seemed to be paying out like 1, 2, 3% at the end of 20, 30 years. So
Mm, okay.
it becomes really expensive coverage and a really bad investment tied into one. And then you're just made to believe that it was a good thing. So from a consumer standpoint, I don't like them.
Mm, okay.
From a salesman standpoint, man, you guys can make some big bucks on
Okay. Well, yeah. I mean, that's good information, to take because also you also want to see both sides of the situation because I'm just only hearing what she's telling me, right? But like I said, I
them.
wanna know more, and I told her
The,
Monday, so I could do my own research as well.
yeah, the people that sell them truly seem to believe really strongly in them. And whenever I bring up that argument that I bring up, they tell me I shouldn't look at it like that. I'm just, and it
I mean,
doesn't
you're
make
the one
sense to me.
consuming it, so why not?
Um, I forget the reason why, because it's been about 4 or 5 years since I've had that conversation with an agent.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, he was telling me, yeah, if I look at it from that viewpoint, then it's not good. But if I look at it from his standpoint, it is good. And I just can't exactly remember what that was, but I was like, well, it's very expensive insurance and a terrible investment. So, this is something I'm spending money on, and I want insurance coverage, life insurance coverage,
Hmm.
and I don't necessarily need the investment. So I'll do the much cheaper life insurance,
Correct.
and then I'll just do the investing on my own, like
You
we
know,
have always done.
yeah. I mean, yeah, that's a good
So,
way to see it too. Like you also wanna get the best of both worlds, right? You want to get good life insurance and good investments as well. But like
yeah.
you said, yeah, she only explained it to me as a salesperson. She didn't explain to me the other side. But I mean, I guess I just her trying to get her build home network. At the same time.
Well, anybody in sales, you're always trying to recruit a team and build up a team, and if you go that trajectory, then you'll probably get to that level too. Because most salesmen, even though a lot of them probably should stay in sales, they end up going to the management level, where you go from selling the product to selling people to join your team to sell the product. Makes sense.
Okay. Yes.
Um, so, I mean, that's how companies grow. That's how more products get sold. So, it's perfectly normal. It's what every single company does that has a sales team.
Question. So what was the
Yep.
what initiative started 100 Dad, or how did that came across with to
So
start
the
that?
abbreviated story was, I used to get these dreams, um, where I would die. Like it was a weird thing. So I didn't feel like I was very lucky. So I thought somehow I was going to die like by the time I was 30, and I didn't want to leave my family in a pinch. And so I
Mm-hmm.
started writing. We owned a few small businesses, so I started like writing details, like a binder put together, about how to run the business, like the day after I died, like who my wife needs to call, what we need to tell the employees, what we need to tell our vendors, our customers. That way, the whole thing didn't like crumble and collapse, because that was our only source of income. Um, so I wrote that out. It was super detailed. And, like I went back and looked at it. It was really really good. It was like 2 inches thick. Um, and it really helped me with the business as well, because I gained a new understanding of how we operate and was able to change some things. But I thought that was so good that I replaced Townsend, the business owner, that I thought I would just kind of continue it and say, all right, let me start writing down things for my kids, that in the event this actually does happen, um, that I'll be able to, you know be a father past my death. Like I'll be able to pass
Correct.
the lessons of why I think this way and things like that. That way I don't leave them in the lurch and they're just kids that grow up without a dad. Um, so that was kind of how it all started. I wrote that. I kind of turned it into a book, which is a terrible book. We never released it, never published it, or anything like that, because parenting books suck. Um, and then we were getting ready to. We just felt like the call to sell our businesses, and so we sold them in 2019. So in preparation for that, we started kind of creating a brand around it, and starting to put out just little bits of information. Figured we had the financial ability to kind of retire and travel the country, so we
Mm-hmm.
combine that, with pushing the brand and getting more exposure, and getting better at releasing the content. That's kind of what we've done so far. So we're kind of taking pieces from that those initial writings and just releasing them a little bit, little bite-sized pieces at a time.
Okay. That sounds.
And then
That sounds.
the goal is the goal is to grow. And if we can reach a lot of people, and um, I feel like it's nice to have a positive dad voice out there, because there's
Mm-hmm.
a lot of good dads. There's just nothing that really gives them, uh, like an affirmation, like oh, I agree with this. There's usually just all the dad stuff's about jokes. All the dad stuff's about stupid things dad does, or mistakes, or goof ups, or something sports based, or um,
Yeah.
it's all comedy based. So to have something that's kind of, strong and valid and moral, and in a positive light, I just feel like good dads appreciate, and can agree with. And if a dad out there is struggling and comes across it, then it's something they could help them. Um, and then maybe if there's somebody out there without a dad that's watching it, it's kind of, they can get some wisdom from, or good dad wisdom from someone else, since
Correct.
they're not getting it home. So that's the whole
Correct.
kind of concept about it. How we twist that and turn that into a business, not 100% sure yet. We'll just see how it goes. Um, we'll kind of just keep pushing the content out for now. Everything's free. We're not selling anything. Um, and then maybe one day we'll flip the switch, and maybe get on some advertisers and things like that. Uh, I don't think we'll ever sell the content in a sense. So it'll always be free to consume, but we'll see. But that's kind of how it started. That's where we are, and that's where we may or may not go. So
Yeah, just see how it goes. Try it out. There's nothing wrong with that.
yeah,
At
I mean,
least you can say,
I have plans for it. We just don't know if they'll come through. Um,
okay.
so, and then I've always been the business owner that's been willing to just change everything at a moment's notice. So that'll probably happen 3 or 4 times. So all my original plans with all of my businesses did not play out. So it's also why I think business plans are stupid. So I never wrote a business plan because if I had, we would have stunk up. Because whatever my business plan would have said, like we ended up
Yeah.
going in 180 degrees a different way. So just because you go where it makes sense, circumstances change, factors change. Uh,
Yes.
you, know, you got to be able to be fluid.
Yeah. I mean, not everything goes as planned. I agree with that, man. That's a big one for me. I had big plans this year, and even before pandemic started, I started last year, 2019. Uh, I was playing soccer and I had my ACL. You know, had to get my ACL restored, and had to get surgery on
Ugh.
my knee. And then after that, the pandemic started, and now we're here. And like you said, that's not where I wanted to be at. But like you said, as you go, you change direction.
Man, so you've been on like house arrest for what, like 6 months? Because ACL is a long recovery, isn't it?
Yeah, yeah. So I've been quarantined before even quarantine started, kind of way,
Oh, man,
because yeah. So
that's awful.
I I tear my ACL in October. I got surgery like first week of November, and I was in bed for 2 months. After in January, I was back to walking. February, I start going back to work, and then next time pandemic came and start all over
Yeah,
again.
man.
Like,
How were you paying the bills without working?
oh well, good thing I had that. I had a third party insurance.
Oh,
Uh,
okay, good. Like a
so
short-term disability.
yeah, so I had short-term disability. So that was pretty much covering part of it, but at the same time, couple savings went down with that. Hey,
What percentage did that cover?
they only covered 65.
65%. Okay,
Yes,
that's
yes,
doable.
65. Yeah, 65%. Of course, it's not bad, but it's not that great either. Obviously, I had the good thing about
Better
it
than
is
nothing.
the good thing about it is I already had some time there, so I kind of used a whole month worth of vacation time just to kind
Okay.
of just to kind of make that time up. But even besides that, it was still quite a good challenge for me. I say it's a challenge because that's the way I like to put things out there.
Is your girl mad at you for playing soccer
Oh
and
yeah,
then ruining your
yeah.
career?
Well, she was in like career, but she was more like, "Oh, this is it for you. I don't want to see
Yeah.
like a ball or anything around." She just put it like this: if you ever want to go play, just think about the time you were in bed and not be able to move anything. And I was like, "Oh, that's good. That's a good way to put it." I'm an active person. I like to stay active. Like at the moment, all I could do right now is just bike. Bike ride. You know,
Yeah.
I'm starting to run a little bit, but still, I'm not 100% there yet.
I'll tell you this much: if you own a bike shop right now, you're making it. 'Cause
All
bike
bikes.
shops are blowing up because everyone's biking now because there's nothing else to do.
Correct. I had my bike for 2 years now, but we tried to go get a bike for her on Walmart Academy. All the bike shops are gone. Like literally, they're gone.
Yep.
People would have known that. He would have invested some money in a bike shop, like you said, or
We had a friend with a bike shop right before we left, and he was just, I mean, he was stressed out because he was just getting pounded with so many people in the store all the time. He just wasn't used to it. Just because
yeah,
there's just nothing else to do. You got to go ride your bike. I mean, can't
yeah,
go anywhere, and that was it when everything was shut down for like that first month. Uh, but yeah, raking it in though.
yeah. I mean, it's right now. It's like it's a good way to do it. Stay biking, stay active. Unfortunately, a lot of people have gained weight during this whole pandemic because All they've been doing is just eating, staying home, and of course, stress plays a lot when you're it makes you gain weight as well.
Yeah. Oh, it does. I've been on that trend for like 2 years now.
Oh, the which one?
The gaining weight.
Well, that's more of a
Uh,
personal thing, or more of a I just like to eat a lot, or
I like food.
you like food, a lot of
Yeah.
carbs. Yeah, you should probably come to Texas.
How'd you end up finding out about this and us and all that
It
jazz?
just pretty much it popped up as a and an Instagram. I just pretty much
Okay.
like what I had some quotes in there that I kind of like. So I went ahead and I like the page.
I
Obviously
appreciate that.
obviously there's a lot going on right now with pandemic, society, people thinking certain way and all that, and I just think being having a father figure in the part has a lot to play a factor. In my opinion, right? Uh,
Yeah.
you know, obviously, we trying to raise our children. Well, me personally, I'm trying to raise my children better and give them a better future than what I had. But when there's a lot going on around, it's like you're trying to prepare him for something that is way out of your control. And
So, have you talked to him at all? It's a him, right? Good boy.
yeah, yeah, he's a boy.
But he's 4, right?
He's 4.
Yeah. So you're not having super in-depth conversations about what's going on around the world.
No, I'm not. Me and him, we used to spend a lot of time at Chuck E. Cheese, Dave and Buster's. A lot of me and him. And right now, he's more like, "What's going on? Why can't we go to Chuck E. Cheese or
Yeah.
what? Let's go to Dave and Buster's. Let's go play Angry Birds at Dave and Buster's." And in my mind, I'm like, we can't go right now. It's closed. And the other day, he asked me to go to trampoline park. I said, "We can't go. It's closed." And he's like, "No, it's not." And I was like, "How much you want to bet?" It's closed. I'm not even gonna make no deal or anything. Let's just go see if it's open or closed. So we went to the trampoline park. He saw it was closed. He's like, "Okay, Daddy, it's closed." But pretty much, other than that, I haven't really explained to him what's really going on. It's just more of a he's kind of he does
He's just bummed out because he can't do the fun things he used to do.
correct, but he does
Yeah.
kind of like sees things different. Like he's like questioning things. Like why can't he go out to certain places? Why can't he see certain people?
Yeah.
And a 4-year-old really kind of hard to explain it to him.
No, I have a 4-year-old. I understand completely. it's it's tough to make them comprehend what the hell's going on.
Correct.
Because half the time I'm not even sure. I'm like, I don't know. I don't know why we can go to. I don't know why we can go to this one, but we can't go to that one.
Correct,
like,
right? So what
the,
makes one
like
good, what makes one bad? So we're like, even
we did
ourselves
a
as
we did a tour bus not a tour bus, a tour boat the other day. We were at
mhm.
Grand Tetons in Wyoming, and so you got to take a boat over to the other side on the lake, and so they're doing social distancing and all.
Oh, okay.
So like there's only so many people on the boat, which is not 6 feet. But then like we're all like packed into this tight line waiting for the boat because
Yes.
there's way more people that can fit in there. So you're all just jammed like sardine cans waiting for the boat. I'm like, just fill up the freaking boat. Like we're already like within 2 feet of each other waiting because you can't put enough people on the boats to come across. It's like 150 people waiting to get on a boat. You're only putting like 6 people on a boat at a time. Just load that sucker up. We're already jammed together. And I
Correct,
mean,
man.
the kids were pointing that out. Like, why we're all just standing next to each other here? Why can't we just stand next to each other on the boat? Like, I don't know. It makes no sense to me.
Yeah,
But
there's a lot of that going on. Same here. We went to a water park down by Columbus, Texas.
mhm.
It's kind of half of road to San Antonio, and we thought that we were gonna get a certain amount of people there. That thing was packed,
Yeah,
and we're like, whatever happened
you can't,
to full
and you
capacity?
can't,
What happened?
and you can't wear a mask near water because that's called waterboarding.
Correct. Yeah,
Luckily, if you do go to those places, 99.9% chance you're surrounded by people who just don't care about the wearing of the mask. So that's the only, you won't get like screamed and yelled at and become YouTube famous because you weren't wearing a mask. That's
You're right about that one.
that's the only positive that'll come out
Do you personally wear a mask or no? What do you? What's your
of it.
percent?
We wear them where we have to. Um, you know, we're on tour, so we're outsiders everywhere we go.
Oh, okay.
So I'm not looking to make a scene anywhere. You know, if I'm standing next to somebody, we'll put it on. Um, you know, if they look nervous and they're wearing theirs, you know, if it's an older lady, you know, I'll just go ahead and throw mine up because I just wear my my fishing gear where it
Oh,
goes
okay.
around your neck, but
Hey,
I
split
had
up.
that stuff anyway because I'm a redhead and I get burnt easily. So pull it up if you're near somebody. Yeah, if someone has a rule, I'm not looking to make a scene or cause trouble or anything, but I don't like it for certain. Like
Yeah.
the second I'm not near anybody, I pull that thing down because I don't enjoy it. So
Same.
I do view it as a tremendous loss of freedom. Um, you know, I understand to an extent why they're doing it. And then at the big picture, I have no idea why they're doing it. It's why this is getting all the attention and so many other things are not getting the attention.
Correct.
Boggles my mind.
Yeah.
But
I mean,
we're
pretty
certainly
much that just tells you how much.
we're respectful of rules and
Yeah.
the towns that we're going to. So,
Okay, that's good. Yeah, me personally, I do the same. Whenever somebody's around, I'll take it off. I work at the moment; they're making us wear it.
mhm.
Uh, Personally, when there's a lot going on, I just take it down, and I'm like, "Look, I'm sorry, but I need to get some air because the mask really does not allow you to breathe, especially when you're in tight places. Like you try to get
Yeah,
underneath tight places and try to, you know, tying up a bolt or something. It's pretty hard. So I kind of break it
sure.
down. I take it down as well.
Yeah. And then we also had COVID. So we're technically immune to it and we're carrying immunity. So because we were up
Yeah,
in New
that's
York
good.
City in February. We're up in so like the need for us to wear it is not there. But we're up in New York City in February before COVID like happened and reached the US. And then when we left New York City 2 days later, they had their first case. And then we just had the worst freaking flu. All five of us got it. And you know, lost the taste and we didn't realize we had it until like 2 months later when it became a thing. We're like, oh my
Mhm.
gosh, we had all those symptoms. All the the medical people we've talked to said we probably had. I guess we don't know for sure.
Like it's funny how you say that because around January I felt the same thing. Like last week of January, I felt
Mhm.
sick. Real, like you said, same symptoms, everything. I usually I don't really get sick, but when I do, I'll be in bed for like a day or two, and that's
Yep.
how sick I felt. My partner, she went, she got sick around the same time. She went to the doctor. She tested negative for flu, and I forgot what the other one, strep throat,
Mhm.
and she came negative for both. And she's like, "Oh, I don't know what it is." And then, like you said, a few months later, she's like, "Oh, it was probably
Yeah.
that."
There's a lot of people who are suspecting that they had it before it was, you know, you can't see my hands here, or it was quote unquote here.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah,
so I don't know.
yeah. It's a lot of
It's
stuff
all
going
been
on.
it's been a little surreal. It really has.
Yeah,
So, and then I was hoping this whole thing would be done by now because that's why we went on tour. We're like, man, this will 2 3 months. This will all be done, and then everything will open back up. So we decided we just go like the middle of the country where things are less crazy because we originally were supposed to go up the East Coast where like it's like the worst. Um, and you know, we figured by now we're actually supposed to go into Canada next week over to Banff, and the border's still closed, so we have to scratch that. And then you know, it's all rearing up again. So
it's a
so
lot.
we're going to be going down. We are going to Texas. We're in Montana right now. We're at
Okay.
Glacier National, and so we're looping across Montana, going to Minnesota, and then the Dakotas. I think Oklahoma, then down to Texas for like late fall, early winter. And so we'll be in Texas for about a month. And then heading over to like New Mexico, Arizona, that area. Because you got to ride the winter out where it's warm.
Okay,
So,
that's
so
good.
we will be down there.
That's
Anything I
good.
need to do while I'm down there? Any cool things to
Anything?
see?
Depending what you're into. I mean, I haven't really visited Dallas, to be honest. It was more of Austin, San Antonio. Uh, there's a lot of cool things to do in Austin. It's
Like
more of
what?
a nature, kind of more like if you want to go kayak, biking, kayaking, or there's a couple rivers. Like there's you want to go in the river or you go tubing. That's what they call it.
Yep. Now,
There's a lot
can
of
you do that in the winter?
nah. There's an
I
indoor water park in Dallas.
I'm gonna be there in the winter. Help me out for the winter.
Oh, for the
Don't
winter.
tell me what I should do in the summer. I won't be there in the summer.
Oh man. Well, there's a water park an indoor water park in Dallas. So,
Okay.
but
Indoor water park.
yeah, ain't no fun in that. Ain't
What's the weather like down there in the winter?
still for us it's summer, man.
Oh, that's
Well,
good. So I'm from Florida. Like I'm used to. We might get like 2 weeks of winter, and there might be 1 or 2 days below freezing, if that. Um,
oh, okay.
and that's at night. So I mean, during the days are still like 50s, 60s at the coldest. Um,
Oh, okay. Yeah, we do
so I
get
don't
a
know
little
if it's
bit of that, but not like you say cold, cold. Like lowest would be like 65s, you
oh, that's
know.
great.
But
Yeah, so
other
that's
than
what it's
that,
big. And what city is that?
well, that would be here in Houston.
Okay.
That's how like pretty much that's it gets hot out here. Pretty much in the winter we get winter like max is like 3 weeks, and
Great. We,
other than that,
we
it'll
will.
be
So what do I need to do near Houston? What's there to do come winter time? You got any like national parks, state parks, anything worth seeing? Or I just need to go to the oil fields and give you a hand at work.
nah. Well, more like an outdoor guy, right?
Yes, I like being outdoors.
Yeah, yeah. So it's like there's really not much in Houston. It's more of a city. It's a lot of bars. A lot of you know.
I'm not taking my kids to a bar.
Yeah, I know. So there's a lot. There's really not a lot of.
I guess we're skipping Houston.
Yeah, you skip Houston for a while. It's getting a little too. It's getting too crowded over here.
So we typically don't go to the big cities. We stay like more remote areas, like outside the city, because that's
Okay.
where the state parks and national parks are usually some trails,
Yeah.
things like that. But what I hate is like when we go on like a day hike or something, and it's all pine trees, and you just see nothing but pine trees. Those are like the worst hikes in the world to me. Like, I
Yeah.
like it when you can see water, when you can see like a waterfall or a stream or some rocks or cliffs
Yeah.
or maybe some different trees or some different geography shapes or a canyon or you know pine trees
Something
suck.
different.
We got enough of that's all Florida is pine trees. I've seen enough pine trees for my life. I don't need to see any more.
There's a place over there. It's called Concan, Texas.
Okay,
It's south of San Antonio. That is a nice place. They do have a park there. Uh, you know, they have a lot. A couple of things you could do there. Of course you got your trailer, but yeah, it's a nice place, man. Especially in the winter. But it's kind of south of Texas, so it is kind of far.
we'll be heading to the south of Texas.
Oh yeah, yeah. Well,
Oh yeah, and
Concan, Texas would be a nice place to visit. It's a lot, real nice. Nice view. It's a nice park. Only thing is that there's hardly any cell phone reception over there. So that's the only downside about it.
can you hear that train?
Yeah.
I didn't even know we had a train here. We do. Um, Concan. Okay, so maybe we'll check out see where Concan is. I don't care about phone reception. We don't have it half the time anyway.
That's good.
So, like the whole time we were in Colorado, which was about 3 weeks, like zero reception, nothing.
Oh really?
I couldn't do any I couldn't do any podcasts. Luckily, I ended up going to a hotel for a night because I just had to like plan out all of our social media posts for, like the next month.
Mm-hmm.
Like I scheduled them all in advance because I just knew like we weren't going to have reception anywhere. So that was
That's the best. That's the best way to do it now. That's the
not
best
when you're
way to
trying to not when you're trying to build an online brand. It makes it very difficult to not be online.
do it.
Kind of one of the key factors in the online
you,
space.
you're gonna have to go back to the old times, get a satellite phone or something.
No, those suck. That was those. Usually, I can drive somewhere usually to find like the nearest town, and I can usually get signal and get
Yeah,
somewhere, answer comments and things like that. So it's not the end of the world, but I certainly prefer it when we do have it. Like here in Glacier, like we are in one of probably the most beautiful national parks in the country, and we're like in the town that's inside the national park. And so we have I'm on LTE right now. We have great signal.
that's good.
Yeah, best of
Have a
both
nice
worlds.
view then. Mm.
Yeah, view's pretty good here. Just well, you see a lot of campers,
Yeah,
but
well,
it's nice.
besides that, it's better than being in the middle with all the people, a lot of traffic, a lot of houses, a lot of honking and all that.
Yeah, we got away from people. That was our goal. We just we just went to I guess some of the more remote areas of the country. That was if cities are going to go crazy, then we'll just not go to cities. I'll just go walk in the woods for the next year. I'll be good.
There you go.
It's actually been surprisingly more crowded than I thought it would be. I thought we were going to be out, with no people anywhere. And, like every park, every RV park we go to is sold out max capacity. The trails we're going, there's people everywhere. I don't think they're as busy as like a normal summer busy season, but
Mhm.
it's definitely more crowded than I thought it would be. I haven't had a barber in months. Do I need to cut my hair? I'm
Nah,
looking at
man, you
myself in
good.
this. I'm like, my beard's out of control. My hair's out of control.
It's actually good to let your hair grow and beard grow. You
Why?
get because they say you get more connection to to yourself. You find your other side of you. You're like you so people are so used to getting their haircut looking fresh and this and then like when they let their hair grow and everything grow, they're like, all right, they start more worrying about who they are and what they do versus how they look.
So you're saying I'm turning into a hippie?
Nah, it's not. I don't know what I said.
Yeah. That's easy advice for a guy that's sitting there with a fresh cut.
I don't have a fresh cut, man. I've been letting my hair grow for a
That
while.
that that looks pretty fresh compared to this.
Uh, I still don't look bad though.
All right, good. Because it
Hey,
froze out on me. It's super irritating. I have to wear a hat half the time. Otherwise, I look
yeah.
like Bozo the Clown. It gets height. Go back 4 or 5 years ago when you guys found out you were pregnant. Was that something you guys were attempting to do? Was it a surprise? Were you excited about it? Nervous? Scared? What was the mentality there?
Well, the moment I found out, it was more of a surprise. But it was also as a, like, oh, I was happy for it, and I
Mhm.
never, honestly, it never came across my mind. My goal was to be 30 and have a kid, right? But then later on, I was like, wait, probably is this the time? I don't know. We'll see what happens. But it's when they say you gotta. From my personal experience, I had to have a different perception of life, right? And not just be selfish and think about myself. Now it's more of a I need to start looking out what I need to do next. What's my next step? Because now my my decisions don't just go towards me. I have somebody to look out to. You know,
Sure.
and like luckily I have my dad, so I wouldn't want to my kid to not to have that.
How's your
There's
relationship with your dad?
pretty good. We still talk. We still we still have moments. You know,
Do you guys live in the same town?
yeah. I always get to see him. You
Okay.
know,
Cool.
yeah. We still
Did
got
you
good
did
communication.
you did you grow up in a house with mom and dad, or was it just dad?
Yes, yes,
Okay. Are they still
yes,
together?
yes.
Oh,
So
cool.
that's yeah. So me personally, I'm lucky enough to have both parents.
Yep.
Pretty much. Not a lot of people could say that, but growing up, I thought that was really common. But
Mhm.
then, as you get older, you see other people, you see other, you interact with other people, and then you're like, oh, well, my parents been separated since I was 4, since I was 6, and I was like, oh, I didn't know that, right?
Right.
But luckily, I didn't have that. So
That is nice. I think that does help out. It's not a deal breaker by any means. I mean, I came from a divorced house. My parents split. I think my dad left when I was like 6 weeks old. He was always involved in my life, like every other weekend, things like that, or custody wise. Uh, but certainly, I grew up thinking that was normal. Like it was abnormal when both parents were at home to me, just because that's how I grew up.
Yeah,
But no, statistically, it pays off tenfold if both mom and dad are at home raising the kids. So I mean, that's just pure statistics. When you break
yeah,
up that home, um, that's when you see the risk of you know, criminal behavior, rapes, lower education, poverty. That stuff just skyrockets. And it's boring to get into the actual data and statistics,
yeah,
but it's very tangible. Like you can just see it clear as day. So yeah, try and keep that house together. And that makes me wonder. So you came from a house with mom and dad, and now you said you're kind of married, kind of sort of married, common law married.
yeah.
So like,
Common
is
law.
there a plan? Is there a plan to get married? Obviously, you guys have the intent of a
Yeah,
long-term relationship. So what's the
I mean, obviously, right now we're talking about that last week, and yeah, the plan is to be married.
okay?
Get
What are you waiting
everything.
for?
I'm kind of how do you say? I don't know. I guess they say it's different. Me personally, I just have like growing up, it's like, oh yeah, the kind of once you're married, it's like that's it, right? But it's not like that. It's just that
You said
me
you are
personally.
you you already said you pretty much already are.
Yeah, it's just
You're just
me.
missing you're just
How do you
missing the
say?
paper.
Correct, correct. I'm just missing the paper and all that. It's just that I guess women have a different view of, oh yeah, I'm married. You're married now, so it's like I kind of like I own you in other words, but in my mind, I'm like, nah, it's not like that. So it's like a battle, but I guess it's just part of growing up and part of maturing in a way.
Okay.
And right now that's where I'm at right now. Of course, like I said, I'm 28, so now I see it's like okay, now it's I already been through my young life, I already been through this. We've been together for this long. Like you said, just make it happen. I'm
Yeah.
not. There's no other reason why I shouldn't. So right now at the moment, it's like yeah, let's just go ahead and do it.
Yeah. I mean, it's long. You guys have been together a long time.
Yeah, man, it's been together. Like I said, we had quite a good ride. Like it's been a lot of difficult moments. Not everything seems. Like you said, it's
Yeah.
like you have your
Just
goods
so
and
you know
downs.
that happens in marriage too.
Yeah,
I mean, 100%. It happens in both. So,
yeah. So I
but we
mean,
were
right now,
doing
like you said, right now I feel more comfortable and I feel more, I guess, mature and wise enough to say, yeah, we're married already. Versus you was to ask me that like 2 years ago, 3 years ago, I'd be like, oh no, right? But
right.
like you said, we've been long enough to know, yeah, we're already married. Like technically, we're there for each other. I mean, she has my back, I have her back. You know, we all have the same goal, so
Yeah.
why not?
Planning a future together, raising a kid
Yes,
together, living
yeah,
together. There you go. You just need the paper.
it's the paper.
I'm not pressuring you.
Nah, I know. I mean, you're not the first one that's been telling me so. I've had
Yeah.
conversations with few other people as well.
Your parents in on that conversation?
Yes, they do. They just don't bring it up as often because they're like, just do it whenever just do you. They kind of don't like right now. Recently, like they don't really pressure me a lot and there's a lot of things because they kind of like letting me fly. I guess you could call it like that.
Mhm.
They're letting me do my own decisions. Like, well, that's one of the things about my parents that I'm really like. I like they don't really like get too much into my life. You
Mhm.
know, obviously if there's something like doing
And
wrong, yeah,
that's
they give
actually,
me
I think that's really good parenting, to be honest.
yeah, and
Like 100%, to not try and change because they already raised you. Really, now they're
correct,
just kind of this stage of life, you're already a man. You're in a long term relationship. You have a kid. Like for them to tell you what to do all the time, they can be there for advice and counsel.
Yeah, yeah.
But to try and force or dictate or mandate things at your age, it wouldn't even work. You'd probably do the opposite just because it piss you off or because it just feels wrong.
Correct.
That's how it would
And
be with me. Like if my mom or father would try and tell me something and told me I had to do it, I'd probably do the opposite just to spite them.
yeah, man. Yeah. So luckily, and I'm saying it like that because I have friends and I have a couple of family members that they do that to them, and you know, I always tell everybody, you live your life however you want to live it, because every individual has the right to live the life how they want to live it. But later on, don't be like, how do you say this? Don't come at me crying about your problems and stuff like that because you're allowing to do that. Like the other day, my cousin was saying like, "Oh, how her mom wants to control life." I'm like, "Yeah, because you never put a stop to it. You never put your foot down and say, you know what, this is my life. She's older than me, and I'm like, you need to make decisions upon your own. Whatever you think is right.
Yeah,
But like you said, it comes to a point where you have to learn when the parent, like you said, they already raised us. We know what's right or wrong, and from now on, whatever decision we make is upon us, not them.
yeah. I feel strongly. You get like that 12, 15 to the 18-year mark, and then what you taught is what you taught. You're there to kind of a shoulder to lean on, and then beyond that, you've already raised them. You know,
Yeah,
so now it's time for them to man up or woman up and go live their life.
correct. Yeah,
So, and I think we're missing a lot of that because a lot of 18-year-olds they're still staying home. They're still relying on mom and dad. Can't cook and clean. Can't get their own insurance or handle their own finances. They're so dependent on mom and dad where it's like they're still a child.
correct. So
But
like on that view, like it's funny how you say chores and stuff. I was reading a thing that said that this guy said he doesn't pay his kids to do chores, but because that's something that each individual is responsible to do, right?
sure,
So what he does is he he makes them read books to teach them a skill trade or a skill, and that's how he pays them. Like, do you think his point of view is more accurate? Which I agree.
so he pays them for reading books.
He he pays them if he learns a new skill by reading a book. So meaning,
Uh,
so
so if they read like a woodworking book and then you bring them like a bear made out of wood, you'll pay him for that.
correct. He gives them money for that, but he won't give him
Okay.
money. He won't give him money if he does his chores. Meaning he'll clean make his bed, clean his dishes, or go throw away the
Yeah.
trash.
I,
And that's it was when I read that, when you said like chores and stuff like that, like it came to my mind right now because when I was growing up, they're like, okay, do your chores. Uh, Here you go, throw away the trash. You cut the yard. Okay, you get like $20 allowance. So that kind of what he's trying to say is like you kind of mentoring your kid that he's gonna have to work for a job when he could learn a skill and pretty much make that his job. Like make that skill evolve and pretty much have better chances
I
out there.
I don't think that's a bad philosophy at all. I think kids that don't like to read, that's going to be a struggle for. So his kids probably, and their personalities and their mindsets they're probably more of a reading family. I think that'd be a struggle for some families, but yeah, my opinion is I don't think chores need to be paid for. I mean, there's just certain things you do because we're all a family and we take care of the house together. Um, but if there's things that are above and beyond, if they're going to like, I don't know, re redo the garden or something like that, or deep clean, detail my truck or something like that. I don't mind paying for that kind of stuff. But yeah, brush your teeth and take out the trash and do the dishes and clean up your room. Those are just things we all do as a family. We all pitch in and keep the house in a good order. Uh, But I do like the idea of paying to read. I don't have a problem with that at all. I just think some kids hate to read, and some kids love to read, and some kids are motivated by money. Some kids are not motivated by money. So, uh, no, I think it's smart, but I don't think it's going to work for every kid. You just kind of navigate those seas and figure out what's what and what works for your kid. Yeah, I think kids that are I have one kid that's super entrepreneurial, and we'll hone that as best I can because that's my natural style as well. Um, but if the other ones, I wouldn't force the other ones that way if they didn't want to. But if they do,
Okay.
I'll kind of figure out what their talents and skills are, kind of help get them there. I'm not going to make them all entrepreneurs and try and force it that way just because I was, and that was my talent. Um, but if they all three turn out that way, great. It's something I can easily teach, so it'd be certainly easier
Yeah.
for me. But we'll just kind of play that as it comes. They're all pretty young right now, so none of it's really dictated a career path they want to do. For my 6-year-old, it's changed every town we go to, and when he learns something cool, I mean, it's changed every town we go to. First he's going to be an archaeologist because we find some really cool dinosaur bones, and then he's going to be a magician, and then he's going to be a skydiver, and then he's going to be a boat tour guide. I mean, there's he doesn't
Yeah.
know.
Yeah. That's good. That's good. At least he has his mind out there busy. Besides just
Yeah.
besides just being like for example, I'll be seeing a lot of kids over here just on their tablets or you know
Mm-hmm.
phones, and like that's one of the things that I'm really big on. I don't really like my kid to be on a phone or a tablet. I like him to be
Mm-hmm.
more of a hands on. Get yourself out there, get dirty. Go run. Do something a kid would do. Well, what I would do when I was younger. You know,
So why do you feel that way?
I just feel that way because from my personal experience, like I've seen him be more engaged whenever he's doing physical stuff versus just sitting there on a tablet and either yeah, some videos they might teach you how to do 1 2 3, but I think he's more engaged whenever I teach him, like for example, to count his numbers or letters, you know, and also too like when he's out there playing, I feel like he's learning more stuff in my opinion. You know,
So do you notice any behavior changes when he's on a screen a lot versus when he's not? Does he act any differently?
for me, he personally when he's like in the tablet, because his mom lets him be in the tablet, and I don't like it. He kind of like he kind of like he like zones out sometimes, right?
Mm-hmm.
Versus when he's like physically playing or doing nothing, he stays active the whole time. He doesn't like. He's like, hey, daddy, let's play. Okay, let's play. Let's play ball. Let's play catch. Let's play something. Like he's always wanted to do something physical. Okay, hey, look, 1 2. Then he starts counting his numbers. Let's go count. And I'm like, I count with him. So he's more. He interacts with me more, right? And
Yeah.
when he was growing up, he had like he had to go to speech therapy
Mm-hmm.
according to the specialist because he wasn't really talking as much. But I blame that on in my personal experience, I blame that on the tablet because
Huh.
whenever it was a time I didn't allow him to use no electronic devices for 2 weeks. He was he was talking more. He was pointing things out. He'll say his colors, and then we go
Yeah.
back again. The tablet came back, and then I see him going back again, starting all over. Like he had trouble saying a couple words. He was struggling. He was like stuttering a little bit, and then I was like, oh, okay, it's just what I think, right? I'm not an expert, but I just think it's
Sure.
what I observe.
No, you're a real
And
world case study.
yeah, yeah, and I paid attention to everything that he'll do. So I was like, okay, maybe we're gonna put that away and let's see how it works. So like I said, I tried both ways. I took it off 2 weeks. It worked fine, and then to now it's like you can
Yeah.
only use it for like an hour. That's it.
Yeah. No, that's smart. I mean, if you're noticing, really easy to measure differences, you're doing the right thing. we notice behavior changes pretty significantly. Um, Especially like if it's rainy or something like that, they're on their tablets or TV a lot more, and they're a lot more short tempered. At least my kids, a lot more easily agitated. They kind of get more of a fuzzy brain. You got to repeat things more often to them. Kind of zone out a little bit more. They don't listen as well. A lot brattier. Uh, versus when we've been out in the woods for 5, 6, 7 days at all, they're almost on point. Like you wonder how you raise such good kids. Like, man, these kids are freaking awesome. Then we go back to
Yeah.
the RV in a couple of days with a tablet, and you're like, who are these monsters? So
Yes.
no, I get it, and that might not be the same for every kid. But, yeah, we definitely noticed, like you did, measurable difference.
Yeah, and I mean, like I said, I was never born on, I was never raised with tablets or phones, right? I was more of a let's go
Yeah,
outside, let's play ball, let's ride the bikes, let's play baseball. It was more of an active person. Of course, once the sun went down, then there was time to go home. But
sure.
other than that, there was no technology. Internet was only available to those who could afford it at that time. And
Yeah,
me per me personally, I'd never, up to this point, I'm really not. I try to stay as much as I can from the phone, but other than that, still try to. I like reading, I like buy a couple books every now and then, but other than that, it's just staying off the phone as much as I can.
yeah. I wish I could do that. Every year that goes by, I'm more and more consumed by this thing. I'm staring into it right now. I have been for the last hour. I mean, it's so
Yeah.
much a part of my life. It and it does everything. It's like it's all my communications, whether it's email or social media or phone. It's you know it's where we keep all our documents. I access everything. I scan all the receipts in there. All our investments. It's on an app. All our banking's on an app. Even controlling this RV behind me, everything's on an app. So I mean, uh,
Mhm.
all of my maps are on an app. It's everything. So I find myself staring at this thing all the time. But I don't enjoy, but it's kind of become more and more of reality. I'm just waiting for them to come up with a chip they stick in our eyeball and we just see it.
Well, I think they're already kind of working on that.
Yeah,
I
wouldn't doubt
think
it.
yeah, it's halfway there. Elon Musk is really coming up with some good high tech stuff. So I was looking at one. He has a solar city. I guess that's what he's gonna call it. Like
I
nothing
don't know
but
what that is.
solar panels. Like literally, the whole city is gonna be controlled with solar panels. I was like, I did not know that. It's kind of cool, but it's kind of like interesting at the same time.
So what does that mean? The whole city's going to be controlled. That's just how they're generating their power.
Correct. The whole city is gonna be generated by solar panels.
So how are they going to do it? They're just going to stick it on everybody's roof, whether they like it or not.
No, he's gonna make according to what I was reading, he's gonna make he's gonna have a whole his whole like own land or however many acres he has.
Oh,
He's gonna
is
call
he
it
doing this? He's doing this for his factory?
correct. So he's gonna
That
call
makes
it
sense. Okay.
solar. He's gonna call it
So he's
Solar
probably
City. So
putting it on the roof of his own massive factories.
yeah, yeah, he's gonna have everything
Oh, okay.
already set up, and I'm just like, yeah, that guy has he has a lot of imagination in his
I'll
mind.
tell you what. So I don't follow him a lot. I know of him and a few things about him. I know he's a genius at getting the government to subsidize his projects. He's so freaking smart. I've never had that kind of leverage or ability to do that because everything I do is small time. But it that kind of stuff amazes me. Trump did the same thing. I was just watching a documentary they put out on Netflix, and he got like freaking was it a few $100 million in tax breaks on like one hotel over like 50 years or something like that. Like,
Yeah,
the
yeah.
ability
See,
for some of these guys to get the government to cover the cost of their project, and then the government's a stupidity in saying yes uh, with tax dollars
hey,
blows my
yeah.
mind.
When you have that mentality, you know the right people, man. You move some chips around, and
I admire the business skill and acumen to take that stuff off. and the amount of risk it takes as well. At the same point, man, those are tax dollars. That pisses me off.
Yeah, like wasn't Amazon? Was it tax free? Was it this year or last year?
Yep. They all do it. That H2 headquarter 2, whatever it is.
Mm-hmm.
Listen, anytime any of those big companies build something to move somewhere, they get massive incentive.
Yeah, I think that's like, when you start breaking that down, you just like you start getting amazed, like what, how they could just do that,
Yeah. So like that, I admire the talent for them to pull that off. I just hate the stupidity of the elected officials for uh, doing it. So, as a taxpayer, if I was
Yeah,
the business owner, totally different opinion. So
correct. All right.
as a taxpayer, it irritates me.
Yeah, you go be along with them, be like, yeah, no tax free.
Dude, if I was building a $30 million building, I'd try and get $10 million worth of credits too. I appreciate you coming on. Have a good night.
All right, you too, man. Thank you.
All right. Yeah.